Hi guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor and your leverage for change. Today I'm going to speak to you about the anxious preoccupied and how they sometimes inadvertently self-sabotage their relationships with their partners. Um, but before I start, guys, let me remind you that I now have memberships on my channel. I was just approved a couple weeks ago for memberships, and at the very lowest level at $3.99, you can support this channel. That way, I'm able to produce more content for you to understand different types of issues in relationships. And also there are actually 5 levels of memberships. At the top level, with the VIP level, you're able to work with me once a month on a coaching call. You're also provided in the membership page, you have videos that's just for you to just work on yourself. And there's also going to be some chats that is just for group members in that level that's working with me. You meet with me once a month for an hour, and that way, guys, you're able to be able to really speak one-on-one with me about your personal issues, because in the open forum like the chat, you may not want to speak about personal stuff that so that everybody can hear your business. So the one-on-one once a month really just kind of allows both of us to just meet and see where you're at, where you're struggling, which areas are you struggling in. That way I can point you in that direction of going to work on that area specifically, and also to just kind of be there to support you once a month, face to face on Zoom, by the way. So let's start with why it is that, how it is really that this attachment style, the anxious preoccupied individual attachment style, sometimes will self inadvertently, they don't go out to do it on purpose, because at the core, this attachment style wants a relationship. They just really, matter of fact, I mean, that is their perfect little zone when they're in a relationship. So you a lot of this attachment style will be like from one relationship to the next most times, because they are afraid of being alone. They have not learned to self-soothe, and so they look for all of that kind of validation, that kind of soothing outside of themselves. So if you remember, the anxious preoccupied individual, one of the biggest fears, the core wounds, is a fear of abandonment, because as children their parents were there, but it was not in a consistent fashion, right? Not a consistent way. So it wasn't anything like the parents, maybe they could not have helped it. For example, maybe one, they work a lot, they just had very jobs that were really demanding, and so when they came home, they're now taking care of dinner and household stuff, and so they were not able to really spend quality time, you might say, consistently with the child. And so there are times when the child might need them to change their diaper or cry, and they need some kind of a validation from their parents, and the parent was not able to come. But it was not so chronic like in the case of the dismissive avoidant, where it was really chronic, that kind of not being there for the child. It was not that chronic for the child to learn to self-soothe. So they'd wait and cry and cry and cry and cry, and the parents would come and they'd soothe them, and then they'd almost cling on to them, because they don't know if they cry the next time they'll come back. And so this is a pattern that developed in that child as they were growing up. And of course, guys, remember that everything is always on a spectrum. So sometimes it's chronic, it's more, you see it more in relationships, or it's something that they respond to much, just like almost very needy or a little needy. So it's just on a different spectrum, different people. Everybody's unique. There's no set way a person is, right? And so that's why sometimes when you listen to these things, you can't really, a lot of people can't help themselves, because first of all, they don't know how to go from the knowledge of what it is to actually taking, making the change to becoming more secure, right? So now the next thing is that a lot of individuals with this attachment style will, when they have a partner, when they have a partner, they'll put this partner on a pedestal. It's because they feel that if they treat this partner really good and put them above, and so of course when they do that, they're putting their partner's needs above their needs. And so you can understand, you can imagine that after a while, over a period of time, they're doing everything for everybody else, for this person, but they're not taking care of themselves. You understand what I'm saying? So after a while, this becomes, they start feeling their level of self-worth dwindling. I mean, it was already low. And so especially when the partner is not responsive to when they need them to be there for them, their self-image, their self-worth just dwindles down into the gutter, right? And so this is one of the issues with this attachment style. They put their partner on a pedestal at the risk of losing their friends. I mean, they will, go out of their way to do things for this partner. They will always treat this partner well, and even when they need to go and do something for themselves, say they have household chores to do, and their partner asks them to do something, they will leave their stuff and go and do what the partner wants, because they feel at some level that they have to kind of almost work for love. It's sad, but it's like they have to be perfect to be loved. They have to kind of put in effort into having somebody love them. And so at this level, that is why they put their partners on a pedestal and really are more responsive to their needs rather than their own needs. So this kind of individual now, what will happen is that after a while they lose themselves. After a while they can't even identify themselves, separate themselves from what their partners are, because if the person was someone who works out a lot, they will now go and even though they've never jogged in their life, they will be learning to jog. They will be working out like heck because they want to be with this partner at every moment, right? And they turn their entire lives around to fit into the life and the activities and that kind of thing for their partner. Even if it's something, no, I'm not saying that you shouldn't share, and go out of your way sometimes to learn what your partner's doing. But I mean, and this is on a grand scale. I mean, pretty much their whole life is morphed into this person's life. And what happens is that after a while, you begin to realize and ask yourself the question, who am I? I don't even recognize myself anymore, because now you've lost yourself into, just this person. You're totally lost in this person, and you can no longer identify or even recognize who you are. You no longer even know what it is that you like and what you don't like, because you've now liked everything that this person liked. You're now doing everything that this person was doing. And so you've lost a sense of self. Now, all of these things are happening in the relationship, right? And because they're happening, you can imagine that after a while, even dismissive avoidance guys, people who don't like to be very close, even them can be very open at the beginning of a relationship, but it cannot last. So a lot of people go into relationships and they pour themselves into the relationship very early on, which is usually one of the trademarks of the anxious preoccupied. They want everything to be really, they want to be close very early. And so a lot of times, because of that, they get into the emotional connection very early. And so at that point, that other person is probably not even there yet. They may, and the moment they have sex, because they will go into that kind of emotional connection very early, because they feel if they don't do it, they're going to lose this person, right? It really is the relationship with an anxious preoccupied. It's almost like they've just given over everything of themselves to the partner. And so after a while, they lose themselves in that relationship. They no longer hang out with their friends. They will, at the drop of a hat, cancel dates with their girlfriends. And if their partner ask, at the last minute, they will do that. Same thing with their family members, right? So they're now they have disconnected themselves from the people who would be looking out for them, and so now they've connected themselves totally to this new person, this partner, right? Sometimes they'll change every aspect of themselves to suit this person. and will question things, values and everything that they've held dear for their entire lives, because they're so enamored with this person, this new partner, and they'll change their belief system at the drop of a hat to fit the belief system of the new partner. And this is where a lot of problems happen, because now you're so intertwined with this partner. So now when this partner start to get suffocate, they feel suffocated, because now you're wanting to hang out with them 24/7, 365 days a week, right? You want to do that. You want to be, just absorbed into, like you both of you just morph into one. And yes, I understand that, but that it's good to have, you're going to want to have close relationships, but you also as a couple need to have some space and some private time to yourself to recoup. For example, a girl would want to go out with her girlfriends, a guy would want to go out with his guy friends, sometimes just hang out with them, right? You should still maintain that couple thing to go out together with your friends together, but there are times when maybe the male partner or the female partner has a certain hobby that they do all the time. You don't have to go to every single, be there with them at the gym all day and be there with it running, down the street all every single day. Maybe you have something else that was different before, but the problem is that, guys, you lose one of the ways that you really inadvertently self-sabotage your relationships, and it might be going fine, but after a while, some partners, they can't take that kind of they feel confined, they feel claustrophobic, and they begin to feel suffocated in the relationship. And the more they pull away, the more you hold on, because this is what the response for someone with an anxious preoccupied attachment style. The more they pull away, the more you hold on, and you try to fix them, and you try to fix the situation. So now you're checking, what did I do wrong? You're always thinking, what did I do wrong? Maybe if I did this instead. And so you keep doing something new and something different just to hold on to the relationship while the other person is pulling away. The one thing I want to say, guys, is that you can never change somebody's mind when they decide they want to pull away. The best thing you can do is to really just let them decide what they're going to do, and you stand still and do what you normally do, right? The moment you start to force someone to stay around because you feel the need that you just have to have somebody else, that's the moment you push them away. You push them away. Holding on too tightly never works. So guys, this is how a lot of relationships end. And so there's this chronic cycle, because you've never learned to self-soothe. So you push people away by becoming too entrenched and into their lives, and you're just into every aspect of every time they turn around, there you are. Sometimes you have to give people time to miss you and to realize the how important it is to have you in their lives. If you never give them the time to miss you, they can never tell whether they really want you in their lives sometimes, right? So you have to have a life of your own. And so this is where the anxious preoccupied has to really put their focus if they want to really get over and not be doing this recurring cycle, get caught up in this recurring cycle of relationships that every time it starts out really nice, because of course, as I said, even the dismissive avoidant person, guys, or the fearful avoidant, can be very charming at the beginning. And so you might think that this is a perfect person and want to spend time with you, by the way, at the beginning. They'll want to really hang out with you at the beginning when everything is nice and fresh and everything is rose-colored glasses and everything is hormones just flowing all over the place. Even the dismissive avoidant person can put on a show for a while, but it never lasts. And so therefore, that is why I'm always saying to you to take your time in relationships. Take your time. There is no rush, because this is a person that if you choose that person to be your forever partner and get married to them, you're going to have to live with that person for the rest of your life, which is the goal, right? Which is the goal. And living in a place with somebody who you are constantly quarreling with and there's constant fight has to be the most miserable existence. So you have to be very careful when you're choosing your partner. Be very deliberate and intentional when you're dating, guys. And so if you're somebody and you know that this is your pattern, that you need someone to be to be there for you, first of all, I really would suggest that you don't try to look for that kind of thing in a partner. You should be whole yourself before you go into a partnership with anyone else, because nobody can satisfy your every need 24/7, 365 days a year, right? So guys, work on yourselves first so that you become more secure, so you don't feel the need to look for love or attention or validation outside of yourselves. The things that you need from others is what you should work on giving yourself, because as I mentioned before, the anxious preoccupied person is giving everything to the person, right? And they're hoping that the other person is going to give it back to them, but it does not always work that way. You're thinking that giving your all and everything, your time, all your resources and your everything to this person, your body to this person, that they're also going to be willing to do the same for you. And so you're looking for your validation, love, for somebody to be there for you outside of yourself when you have never been there for yourself. So you have to start learning to be there for yourself, learning to love who you are right at this moment, and work on getting better each day. You cannot force people to love you, to stay with you, to give you all that you need to make you feel better. All right? So guys, I hope that you learned something from this, and I'm hoping that you realize that just going into relationships to seek something outside of yourself that you don't have is never going to be the answer for you to have successful, healthy relationships. So I remind you again to just look down at click the join button, and it will give you more information about my membership. My membership's on my channel, and I'm sure you'll find something there that will suit you, even if it's just to support me at $3.99 a month, so I can really produce more of these videos that will be able to help you. And also guys, remember, I do one-on-one coaching in my practice. So therefore, if you are looking for a coach to work with, I'm here. We work on Zoom. I'm working with people all over the world, as long as the time will be within the frame of the daytime for you and for me. We can always match it up. I work with people in the UK, in Ireland, on all over the United States. So guys, I find the only place that I probably will have a problem with is like Singapore right now. In that area where when it's 8 o'clock here at night, or 9 o'clock at night, it's 9 o'clock there in the morning, and it's kind of hard for me to work at 9 o'clock at night. I really can't do that. So because I need my sleep, and it takes time for me to really do a lot. When I'm with you, I am with you 100%. I don't want to be falling asleep on you. I want my mind to be clear, and so that is probably the only area that I will find some difficulty working with. But in the UK and those areas, I am perfectly fine. So guys, please, if you've learned something, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and also just hit that notification bell, so that as soon as I upload another video, that you will be notified. And guys, until next time, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.